Hello, everyone. Welcome to Heart with Saima, the podcast show, where we talk about people, ordinary people doing extraordinary things. I think we are all courageous people. We have that courageous person who's within us, and we are always searching to how to make ourselves more visible and how to make ourselves more strong and how to make change how we show ourselves to the world and how to evolve. And this is your host, Saima Dillon. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you. And without any more delay, let's dive right in. So, my guest today on Heart to Heart is Talaya Dendy. She is a 10-year cancer thriver and cancer doula. She's also the founder of On the Other Side, a cancer support service that provides personalized support and resources using a patient-centered and holistic approach. And without waiting, let me bring Talaya on. Hey, Talaya,
Hi,
welcome.
Saima.
How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Welcome to Heart with Saima.
Thank
And
you.
how about I hand over the show to you and let you give an introduction about yourself. And here goes.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Talaya Dendy. I am a 10-year cancer thriver, and I use my experience that I learned on my cancer journey to help other people navigate their cancer journey so that they can deal with less stress, get a better outcome, and focus on healing. As Saima mentioned, I am the founder of On the Other Side, which is a cancer support service. And my primary focus is to help people that have been diagnosed with cancer, but I also support survivors as well as caregivers.
Well, let me bring myself on. And all right. So, Talia, you are a 10-year cancer survivor. Um, what happened? When did you get diagnosed? What your journey? Share more with us.
Absolutely. So in 2011, out of the blue, and I say out of the blue because I was really healthy prior to my diagnosis. You know, I had never had a broken bone, spent a night in the hospital, anything like that. So I had gotten this diagnosis in 2011 of Hodgkin's lymphoma. I received my diagnosis on the way home on a Friday from work. So, of course, I was taken aback, pretty much knocked off my feet when I heard those words, "You have cancer." So, I pulled over to TJ Maxx, which happened to be on the route to going home. And I pulled over because I was just in a state of shock. And I was really just trying to process what I had heard. So I
How
walked
was that?
around.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you, but how did you receive that? Did you go for a routine checkup? What was it? You were feeling some symptoms, and you went for a checkup. What happened?
So let's take a step back. So
Yeah.
in 2010, I
Hmm.
had went for an annual exam, an annual physical. And at that time, I had told my primary care doctor, I said, I'm concerned. There's this small lump on my neck that's been there for a few weeks. It hasn't gone away. And she was aware that I had been exercising quite a bit. So she said, "Oh, it's probably a pulled muscle. Don't worry about that." So she just kind of blew it off. And there were so many different things going on in my life at that time, work, family, just trying to be supportive to those in my life. And I put it off too. And so a year later, it was still there. And I
Wow.
found a new doctor because I take ownership in this as well. But the fact that I was just blown off, by my prior doctor was really upsetting. It was just like, wow, she didn't even look into it. She didn't touch it or anything. She just blew it off and said, oh, it's probably a pulled muscle.
And because
So,
of that, you wasted a whole year.
whole year, yes. And, part of me, Saima, I had a feeling that something wasn't right. And usually, when you have the feeling that something isn't right, something isn't right. And
Intuition, right?
yes, absolutely. And so I had gotten a new doctor because, as I mentioned, I just didn't feel comfortable with the way that she had blown me off. So the following year, I got a new doctor and I pointed it out to my new doctor. And immediately she touched it, and I could just tell by the look on her face that something was not good. So she said, Talaya, immediately, tomorrow, if possible, I would like for you to go in and get an ultrasound. So went in a couple days later, got an ultrasound, and I could tell by the look on her face, the technician's face, that something wasn't right. So then I went in for a biopsy. And during that biopsy, that's when they were able to determine that, yes, it was Hodgkin's lymphoma a year later. And I'll come
What
back to
is
that.
I'm interrupting you again because I want to keep asking you these questions as we are going. What exactly, what form of cancer is that?
Hodgkin's lymphoma is considered a blood cancer.
Oh, wow.
And so that affects the lymph nodes and the lymphatic system.
Okay, wow.
Mhm.
So,
Yes.
so you were in TJ Maxx's parking lot, and you got the
Yeah,
news. And you will always remember TJ Maxx,
I
if for no
will.
other reason, for this reason.
Exactly. And Saima, I was just walking around for about 20, 30 minutes, just kind of digesting what I heard, trying to make sense out of it. And in some way, probably looking for answers that I knew didn't reside in TJ Maxx, but it was a break that I needed,
Yeah,
because of course my nerves were just a mess. So made it back home,
yeah,
called my family and said, hey, I've just gotten this news.
yeah.
And of course, everyone was concerned. But I had asked them, I said, I know you're concerned. I need to take this weekend and have some time alone and just really
Process the news.
try to process it, digest what I had just heard.
Yeah,
Now, Saima, at the time, I didn't really know what I was doing. But I spent that whole weekend just working through my emotions. I cried, I was angry, I was frustrated,
yeah,
trying to come to an understanding. And it was the best thing that I could have done for myself because by working through all of those emotions, it allowed me to take charge that Monday morning
yeah,
and get on the phone and start making calls and figuring out what my next steps were. Excuse me. And so that is what I think really helped me get started on a fairly decent path on my cancer journey because I was able to purge and work through all of those different emotions. I was able to get that out and
yeah.
then open myself up for what was to come ahead.
So, you said it was a 10-year journey, and you said that you got diagnosed in 2011.
2011 is when I got diagnosed, and I went through 6 months of chemotherapy and a month of radiation. So by the end of 2011, I had completed my treatment. Now, what a lot of people don't understand is that when a person finishes cancer treatment, it's
Yeah,
not over. There's
exactly.
a whole nother leg that has to be started on this journey, and
Yeah,
that's trying to heal. That's trying to figure out what's next for me. What do I want out of life? And so there's all these different things that you have to learn how to do different, stop doing, or just kind of come to terms with everything that has happened and what you want next for your life. What does your quality of life look like? And so there's all these different things that you have to take on now that you've gotten out of the
and it's
treatment.
not just physical, right? It's not just the what you went through physically, the emotional and the mental.
Yeah.
aspects of your diagnosis and the life changing. I mean, it's life changing, right? Your body is not what it was.
Yeah.
You, I mean, you're dealing with this life changing disease,
Hmm.
and you're dealing with the fact that your existence is not the same. It doesn't, you don't exist in this universe in the same capacity as you were before it happened.
Yes, that is correct. It affects you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, um, just about anything you can think of. It affects your finances, your job,
Your family.
relationships, everything. And so you're trying to come to grips with all of these different things where the dynamics have changed. And I always say, I had written a blog post and I said, I'm the same, but I'm different.
Yeah.
So I'm still Talaya, but there's certain aspects of me that are different. I've grown. I do a lot of things different now, so it's still me. I'm not cancer. Cancer, didn't completely turn me into a different person. At the core, it's still me. But there's a lot of things that I do differently, and I think about things differently now as well.
We're supposed to ride this wave of life, right? Through the storms
Mhm.
and through the sunshine, and whatever comes our way. But some things in life, they just come to knock you down, and they do
Yeah.
knock you down, right? But at
Mhm.
that point, you've got to put yourself and your pieces together, and you've got to get up and be that survivor to keep going.
Yeah. And Saima, I don't look at it as being knocked down. I look at it as my eyes being opened to the possibilities, to what I'm really supposed to be doing with my life. Because, when I was diagnosed,
Yeah.
I was on this career trajectory. So, I wanted to climb that corporate ladder. However, I wasn't really happy with what I
Yeah.
was doing. I was doing what I was supposed to be doing, not really what I wanted to do. And it wasn't always clear what I wanted to do and what my purpose was. So, in a sense, cancer kind of made me do a 360 and look at my life differently. Hey, I don't care what society says that you're supposed to have this great career, a nice house, with a white picket fence and all these things. It's like, no, I want to go and I want to wake up every day and do something that I love. And
I mean,
so,
that takes a lot of courage to just change your perception and change your perspective about what has come your way, and how
mhm.
you and you change your trajectory based on how you perceive things, right?
Yes, yes. And I was just going through the motions, the day to day, striving, making really good money. So, of course, that adds to the level of comfort. And had I not received a diagnosis, had I not gone through the challenging times that I went through, who knows if I would have made this change and found my true purpose. And so cancer is horrible. I'm not championing it or saying, hey, it's the best thing that happened to me. But I feel like, in a sense, it is a part of my journey. It's something that had to happen to wake me up, help me to see my purpose, and get me on the path that I'm on today, which is helping other people. And I've always been a helper. I knew that I was supposed to be doing something to help people. I just wasn't sure how.
So, how did your life journey, how did getting diagnosed and going through chemo and the survival side of it, and then, realizing that through your own challenges, you know, going transitioning from the dark side into the light, where you feel that you want to actually, shine on everyone else, shine your light and radiate on everyone else, and help others. How did that transition come about?
So, of course, when you are diagnosed, it does impact your finances. So for me,
Yes.
it wasn't something that I could do right away. I
Yeah.
didn't start my business officially until 2019. Now I had the paperwork, documentation, registration, all of that done in 2017. And so from 2011 through 2017, I was still in corporate America. Okay, how am I going to make this work? What exactly am I supposed to be doing? I know it's something helping people with cancer. I'm not sure. So during that time, I'm saving, I'm planning, and I'm figuring out what it is, how I want to make this work. So 2017, I did the paperwork side of it, got the LLC in place. I entered into a coaching program. And so I said, you know what? This is getting closer.
So,
I
what
could
kind of
feel it.
a coaching program did you get into?
Sure. I got into a general coaching program that
Or
really teaches you the principles and the core of coaching. But
okay,
all of my other experience comes from me being a cancer patient, doing research with nutrition, mind body connection. I'm a researcher at heart. In my prior work, I was a supply chain analyst and I have a degree in science and math. So you can kind of see where the analytical side comes in. And so went through a coaching program and finished in 2018. And so November 2018, I left corporate America for good. The next day, my family and I got on a plane. I went to Orlando and did some in person training to finish and got my coaching certification. And then, beginning of 2019 is when I really just went full force into on the other side. And I've been doing it ever since. So it's not something that happened overnight. It involved planning and really getting things in place because as you know, as a business owner, it's not, you don't know how things are going to look or how they're going to work out. So you
yes.
have a little bit of planning in there.
So, what exactly is personal cancer doula?
hmm Sure. So let me start off by explaining what a doula is. A doula is someone who helps another person through major life changes and significant health related experiences. So, a birth doula focuses on the beginning of life. Many people have probably heard of a death doula by now. They focus on the end of life. As a cancer doula, I support people that have been impacted by cancer. We focus on the present, what is happening in your life right now. Let's get over this thing called cancer. And what do you want your life to look like after that? So we focus on what's in front of us, the here and the now. So, as a cancer doula,
Yeah.
I walk with my clients, I support them and make sure that I can take some of that stress off of them so that they can really focus on healing and what they want their quality of life to look like.
How is it to work with going through your experience being a cancer thriver, and then on the other side, working with uh, people who have been diagnosed with cancer? How does it make you feel?
It makes me feel, when I first started doing this, it really made me go back in time and relive how I felt and what was I thinking and what were certain things that I had done when I first got the news. Now it makes me feel so good because I know that I'm showing up and I'm helping someone during a very tough time in their life. It makes me feel good, but then at the same time, just knowing what different people go through. Sometimes people don't have support. Sometimes they're in the process of losing their home. So there's a lot of different feelings. It's feeling proud. It's feeling honored that someone trusts me with something so sacred. It's feeling sad. And so for me, it's very important during this work to make sure that I take care of this as well.
Your
Doing
mental and physical well-being.
Yes.
So when you meet these other people, obviously they've approached you. They are ready to work with you. What's their what state of mind do they come to you? What are they going through?
You know, their state of mind varies, but one requirement that I have for people, because this is very important in order for them to be able to move forward, and that is being open to new things, being open to looking at things in a different way. So when people come to me, that's my only requirement is that, hey, are you ready to try something different? Are you ready to look at things differently?
Are they
Now,
ready to receive?
exactly. And that is so important because if they're not ready to receive, I can't do a whole lot with that. But when people come to me, of course, they're very overwhelmed because there's so many different things that you have to get in place before you even start treatment. So they're overwhelmed. They're trying to figure out how to process this cancer diagnosis. They're angry, they're sad. So all the things that I shared with you that I went through in the beginning, they're going through the same things.
But I'm sure it just makes them feel like, okay, there's someone there who is a survivor and who's a thriver and who's just completely changed, their life around, and changed it around regardless of this challenge which came in their life. They've changed their life 360 degrees, and they're in a much happier space.
Yes, yes. And you know, for a lot of people, visuals is very important. So just being able to see someone that, 10 years ago was diagnosed with cancer and today this person has hair, they look healthy. So it's not always these images that we see on TV. And that's part of the stigma too. And that's what creates so much fear are these false images and the inaccurate information that's being shared in society about a cancer diagnosis. That stigma in turns make people feel ashamed, guilty. They don't want to tell people. They're trying to figure out what have I done wrong. You haven't necessarily done anything wrong. This is something that happens to people, unfortunately, and it's happening to people younger and younger. And more
Why is
people,
that?
that's one thing that I have varied opinions on. I really think it has to do with our food and water supply. It has to do with disparities in healthcare. It has to do with lack of education about getting your preventative screenings and all of these different things. And so I believe it's an accumulation of things. It isn't any one thing.
Um, what is that? What is that one advice you will give people that you feel is life changing?
One piece of advice that I would give people is number one, if you feel like something is wrong,
Yeah.
if you feel alone, if you feel extra tired, anything out of the norm that's going on with your body, don't hesitate to go to the doctor. And if you go in and they tell you, "Oh, it's nothing," go find another doctor. And you keep going and you keep talking to doctors and seeing doctors until you get an answer. Because you are the expert on you. That is the first thing that I tell the people that I work with and support. You are the expert on you. If you
Listen
are
to your
feeling,
gut feeling, your intuition.
listen.
And
Mhm.
when you look at yourself and your own body, and if something seems amiss, then take the initiative. Don't just rely on, even though it's an expert and it's expert advice. But if your gut feeling is telling you that you need to do something, then you need to go and do it.
Yes, and don't stop until you get an answer. Because unfortunately, like in my case initially, there are some people that are not going to take and go that extra mile for you. So you have to go that extra mile for yourself. And you get one no or one blow off, move on, keep going. and you get what you need and you advocate for yourself. And so that's one of the things I think is so important is advocating for yourself. No, you don't have a doctor's degree, but that doctor doesn't feel what you're feeling, you know? And
Yeah.
so you speak up for yourself and you make sure that you're getting what you need and what you deserve in your care.
Talaya, if you could go back and change one thing about your life, what would that one thing be?
You know, I would go back, and I'm going to say two things if that's okay. I would go back, as I mentioned, and I would not have waited a year. I would have put more value on my life. And I would have said, you know what? I'm more important than anything that's going on in my career. I'm more important than anything that's going on in my life. So I would have forged ahead. I wouldn't have waited a year because that could have decreased my treatment and everything. You know, I may not have needed 6 months of chemotherapy. Maybe I would have only needed two or three. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I would have pursued my desire to play basketball. And so, because of my height, I'm like, no, I'm too short. Yeah, I can't play. No one's going to want me to be on their team. But that goes
See,
back
those
to,
inner voices which kind of have been put into your head, not
mhm,
by you, but by external sources, right? People around you.
mhm, absolutely. And so this all goes back to believing in yourself, putting yourself first. And no, a cancer diagnosis is not good, it's not fun, it's not pretty, any of those things. But it's something that got me to where I am today. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today. I don't think that I would have the confidence to sit here and talk to you today. But because I'm functioning from a place higher than myself, and I'm functioning from a place of love and wanting to help others, I have to put those fears aside and make sure that people know I'm here. I'm here to support you.
So, what is on the other side about?
Absolutely. So on the other side is a name that I came up with, and it represents where I'm at. I'm on the other side of cancer. And so as a survivor being other on the other side of cancer, it's my job to help other people get on the other side of cancer. And so to help them get there, I navigate, I educate them, I guide them, and I walk with them so that they can get on the other side of cancer.
How can people support you?
Actually, people can support me by sharing this information with others. If you know someone who has been impacted by cancer, whether they're a cancer patient, a survivor, or a caregiver, go to my website, www.ontheotherside.life, and sign up for a free 45-minute call. And we can discuss what it is that you're facing and then figure out how to move forward. They can also support me by listening to my podcast, which I started this month, and it's called Navigating Cancer Together. And that can be found on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, as well as other podcast platforms. So that's another way to support me as well.
And so, let me see. Your podcast is called what?
Navigating Cancer Together.
Okay, and that's your podcast. Okay,
Mhm.
yes. So we can help people find it and um, what is your what's your plan? Where are you planning on taking this?
You know, Saima, the next thing I want to do is create a nonprofit. And that is so that people who do not have the resources can actually get support for free. Right now, I function as an LLC, so I'm for profit. And sometimes people just don't have the funds to get the support that they need. So creating a nonprofit will help me serve people, more people who just don't have the means.
Well, throughout your journey, Talaya, what has been your high?
Oh, yes. Finding a place of peace, number one. And number two, learning new things and using the things that I learned to help other people. Because nutrition is always evolving, mindset is always evolving, all these things, all these integrative care things that people can do to help them better get through their treatment and just emotional trauma and all these different things. Learning those things and then sharing that with other people, that gives me a high.
What you know I mean, if there's one thing I think people can take from the show or from every single podcast that I do, Talaya, I feel that it is that power of self-love, the ability to just be able to do a deep dive within yourself and connect to yourself from within and just love yourself enough to become mindful of the changes which are going on within you, to love yourself enough to embrace yourself with all your flaws and all your qualities and all your pluses and your minuses, and understand that you we are not perfect human beings, we are flawed individuals, and that's okay.
It's so interesting that you mentioned that because that was a common theme throughout the past 10 years. And it's just so interesting how the universe works because just yesterday, or maybe it was a couple days ago, but not too long ago, I put up a post and it said, in order for me to get out there and help others, I had to divorce perfection for progress. So as long as you're making progress, you're doing good.
That's
It's not
so powerful. Will you repeat that for me? Divorce, what was that?
divorce perfection for progress. So
Divorce.
don't worry about being perfect. Just get out there and make an impact. Get out there and help people. And as you get out there more and more, as
Yeah.
you help more and more people, you'll grow. And so you're doing two things, you're helping others and you're growing in the process when you let go of perfection. Because a lot of times when we're so focused on being perfect,
Yeah.
that used to be me back in my corporate America days.
It's such a big hindrance. I feel it's so much burden, right?
It is.
Perfectionism is such a burden. And
Mhm.
um I always tell people on my podcast that I started my podcast, it's now like 14, 15 months, and my podcast, like, this is episode 55, I think. But my podcast changed my life because it started because I was soul searching. And in that process, the kind of people that I started meeting, and it just, I was trying to do search for myself and for my soul. But what started happening was, it started impacting other people, and it started helping other people, and it started, that ripple effect of change. And it started changing my life because it was changing other people's lives. So I wholeheartedly believe that if you're seeking something, you know what, just start giving it yourself, and
Yes.
then wait and watch, and just watch it unfold and come to you. I mean, it just changes your own
Mhm.
life. Any last words, parting words, Talia?
Yes, I just want to thank you all for listening. Saima, thank you for having me on your platform. And I just want to encourage people, if you know someone that is struggling on their cancer journey, make sure you tell them about me. And then also tune into Navigating Cancer Together. I just started it at the beginning of this month. So I'm very fresh and new, but I said, hey, I got to get out there and let people know that they're not alone, share information and encouragement. So, my final words are don't worry about being perfect. Love yourself, get out there, use your skills, use your experiences to help others, and you'll feel good. You'll feel good inside and you're worthy. So, those are my last words.
I think every individual who's on this earth has been sent to this world. They are valued, they are important, and you matter, and you have something to contribute to the universe. So value yourself, hold yourself high, love yourself, and everything else, will just fall into place. Talaya, thank you for being here. I'm going to remove you from the stream, and I'm going to end the show. So here goes. Well, friends, thank you again, uh, as always, for taking the time out and for being here and for listening to the podcast. And, I do appreciate it when I meet you guys and you come up and you tell me that, you know, something that my team is doing or I am doing something, if we are doing right, that helps change your life and that inspires you. Do connect with me, email me at vip@saimadillon.com if there's anything we can do, any resources we can put out there to assist you in your journey. And if you feel this can help someone, like Tadea said as well, do share this. It doesn't take long to share it, just 30 seconds, and post it on social media. And I will be so grateful. Until next time, thank you for being with me, and thank you for watching. This is Saima signing off, and let's see.